Hi, church family. It's Friday morning as I'm recording this, and I hope you're doing great and looking forward to a great weekend as well. You know, as I sit here recording this, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about all the different things that I need to get done this weekend, today and tomorrow. I've got a lot of things I need to do around the house. The little computer on my car tells me it's time to change the oil. My son's truck needs some repairs done to it. It's just a lot of different things that I need to get done. And so, you know, at times like this, when we feel like, man, I just want a day off, I just need the rest, but I've got so many things that I've got to get done. We often quote a Bible verse that says, you know, Jesus said, well, come to me and I'll give you rest. I don't feel like I'm getting any rest, so he's not giving me rest. Well, I want to talk about that verse just a little bit today. That verse is actually found in Matthew chapter 11. It's in verse 28. Listen as I read it. It says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. As I want you to understand what Jesus was talking about here when he spoke those words. First, he said, come. I know I've spoken to you about Matthew chapter 4, verse 19, where he said, come follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And I talked to you about how that's the model of disciple making. Here again, Christ says, come to me. Over and over again, he calls us into a personal relationship, a relationship of following him. He says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened. That when he's talking about this to the people of his day, those that were weary and burdened, he was talking to Jewish people that were feeling so overwhelmed by the Jewish traditions, all the different rules and regulations that had been thrown on top of what God had taught them throughout the Old Testament. And they were just feeling overwhelmed by the religious activity. I don't know about you, but some of you, I think, in this world, they grow up in church and they feel like church is all about rules and regulation. And the first chance they get to not have to go to church, they run from it. And maybe in the beginning, there's a little bit of a hole and a miss of what they had when they were in church. But that's not what Jesus wants for us. And so I encourage you, if you're one of those that kind of ran away from God thinking that there were too many rules and regulation with church, I encourage you and invite you into a relationship with Christ. Christ wants to know you personally. He wants you to know him. So he doesn't want us to be overburdened with religious activity. He says he will give us rest. That rest he's talking about, it's not sitting around on the couch eating bonbons and watching TV all day long. He wants us to have a biblical day of rest, just like he talked about in Genesis, of taking a day of rest. There's a time in that day for training and from learning from him. He goes on to talk about that. And he says, I want you to learn from me. I want you to understand that when you follow me and you allow me to transform you from the inside out, your day is going to have such a better focus. You're going to see things in such a better way. And so he encourages us to come after him, to follow him. He says his yoke is light and his burden is easy, is light. Or his yoke is easy and his burden is light. So I encourage you to think about that. Where are you at in your relationship with Christ? Do you see yourself following after him, coming to him, allowing him to work in you and through you, to give you his vision and his understanding of what he wants to accomplish in this world? Or are you like the people in Jeremiah's day? You see, in Jeremiah's day, in Jeremiah 6:16, it's written, Jeremiah wrote, this is what the Lord said. Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient past. Ask where the good way is and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. And listen how the people responded. But you said, we will not walk in it. You know, a lot of times we say that we want to follow Christ, but we don't follow after him. And the truth of it is, we can't really be followers of Christ if we're not truly following him. That's the key. And I encourage you, Jesus invites you into a relationship with him. And I encourage you to come to him and find his rest. Find his rest in your belief system. Find his rest in your work activity. Find his rest in the way that you look at the world. Church and others, I encourage you, have a great weekend. Follow after Christ.